upon a time there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Status quo, status quo. Jordan Chariton in the house, second time today. I was live earlier this morning. This double duty is really taking a lot out of me. It's taking a lot out of me, folks. Got to be honest with you. I like keeping it real. I like keeping it real with my audience. So I will tell you, this is poor form. I have not prepared at all for this live stream. I have not had time to prepare for this live stream. I have been on 4 phone calls today pertaining to an investigative story we're working on a certain community that was poisoned. You know what I'm talking about. We also have our new camera person is here, so I've been going through things with our new camera person and a mix of training and getting to know you and all those things. So we're going to introduce you to him in a little bit. Wonderful guy. I think you're going to like him. I did a Skype interview earlier on universal basic income with someone. So we have that. And I have been trying to find enough time to eat, go to the bathroom and all those things. So I haven't had a ton of time to prepare the way I want to for this live stream, but I feel it's still important to go live because there's a lot going on, yada, yada, yada. And as a public service announcement, I'm going to be telling you throughout this broadcast, tonight, we're almost at 6 o'clock Eastern time, so in about an hour and a half Eastern time, 7:30 Eastern time is our monthly members call. So if you are a Status Coup member or a patron, you are getting the link. Jen should have sent you the link to our video call. It's a lot of fun. Jen has to go to her kid's play, so she won't be there, but I will be here. And we will have a good time. I will give you all the TMI your heart could desire on what's going on behind the scenes at Status Coup. So 7:30 Eastern time if you're a member. If you're not a member, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? If you're not a member, why do you even exist? No, I'm kidding. You obviously could become a member right now and join us on, it's not through YouTube, it's through Zoom. You can become a member, statuscoup.com/join. You know the drill. Become a member for as low as $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, or $179 annually. So if you become a member in the next hour and a half, you will get a link to join us on the video call. And you get some, in addition to the members call once a month, you also get some other bonus content too. So join us, statuscoup.com, statuscoup.com, statuscoup.com. And moderators, if you have, I don't think Jen is, Jen's not in the live chat. So whoever is doing the live chat or moderators, drop in the GoFundMe link, drop in the join link if you can. So, Joseph Ballin, $2 in the super chat. Tulsi and Warren on frauds. Bernie or Robespierre. I'm not positive who Robespierre is, but thank you for the super chat. I think I missed another super chat. This is a super chat. Hold on. Farewell. Okay, that was the first super chat. Why become a member. Yes, become a member. Statuscoup.com/join. And before I get into the fraudulence that has become Elizabeth Warren, let's see what we're at here. We are just, $340 away. $340 away from reaching $76,000 raised. And you're going to see part of why we need to raise that money is this new camera person and what we're going to do with it. So, whoever is doing the live chat, I don't even know, drop in the GoFundMe link. Any amount counts. $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $500, whatever you want. We really, really appreciate it. We've passed 1,000 donors, as you can see, which is amazing. 1,000 donors in 9 months. Woo! You guys really, really are pulling through for the coup. Ooh, that's a good slogan. Pulling through for the coup. I like that. Maddie Perry, $4.99. Hey, Jordan, did you hear Tulsi stepped away from Medicare for All? Yes, I heard that. We're going to get into that because, frankly, got to keep it real. No good. No good. Sorry, Tulsi. I cannot idly stand by and be down with you pushing away from capital P Medicare for All. We can't pick and choose. If we're going to bash Elizabeth Warren over her fraudulence, we got to call out Tulsi Gabbard too. I don't like it. Tulsi. What are you doing? I would love to speak with Tulsi Gabbard and understand why all of a sudden she has seen Jesus on the need of choice. We need choice in healthcare. Because people just love those private employer-based health insurance companies who send them bills for $7,000, which I just heard from someone that I was speaking to, and all this. People want a choice so they can keep that holy insurance industry stuff. I don't think so. So we'll get into Tulsi. First, we got to start with Warren. In true transparency, I have a video that's uploading right now to show you, so I'm going to improvise until that's done. Reminder, folks. We currently have. How many people we got watching? We got 300 people watching, but only 151 of you have pressed the thumbs up button. It's the like button. We need every single person watching to smash that thumbs up button like it's a formerly progressive candidate sprinting away from Medicare for All. We need you to smash that We need you to smash that thumbs up button like it's Donald Trump asking you for a favor abroad. We need you to smash that thumbs up button like, not literally, we don't preach violence, like it's, a former progressive who's saying, well, Elizabeth Warren, she's just more practical. Smash the like button, smash the like button, smash the like button. Got 320 of you watching. We only got 176 likes, so if I can do the math, we need 140 more of you to press that like button. Keep it coming. Also, like I said, we have our members call right after this at 7:30 Eastern. So sign up as a member. Right now, we got 720 of you. As members, we need to get that to 1,000 by the end of the calendar year. So keep it coming. statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5. You become a member before the end of this, before the members call at 7:30 Eastern. You will get the invite to join our members call, which is through Zoom. You see my ugly face. My nose is red. My girlfriend's gonna yell at me because I don't put on suntan lotion, and I need to. And I will see your not ugly faces through the Zoom. Also, follow us at Status Coup. We're almost at 10,000 on the Twitter. Subscribe to our podcast and join our email list. Go to statuscoup.com. Enter your email. We would be so appreciative. So, with that said, and I missed a super chat because this is a super chat too. So you could go fund me, you could super chat, whatever you float your boat. Robbie Asher, 1999 in the super chat. Thank you, Jordan and Co. Well, there will be a Co because I'm going to introduce you all to our new camera person. And it sucks that I have to keep explaining because people keep asking, what happened to Ty? What happened to Ty? I've said it 25 times, but I have to keep telling people in the back who aren't coming to class the first 10 times. Ty is still a friend of the Coup. Ty is still staying at my place. We split up very amicably. He wanted to work on some other projects. So that's it. There was no fisticuffs. There was no blowout. He's a documentary filmmaker, was looking to work on some other things. We obviously needed someone who could be dedicated pretty much, I don't want to say full-time, but mostly to the Coup. So he's still a Status Coup family member. He'll be back on, I'm sure, in the near future. So that's it. We found a replacement. He's working on some other things. I wish I had some drama to tell you, but that's the truth. Robert Salazar, $2 in the super chat. Really excited for the future of the channel. The future is now, Robert. Thank you for the $2 and the kind place. Donald Smead, $5. Do you know the details of Tulsi's healthcare plan? Some are saying she switched for Medicare for All today. Yes, I'm going to get to that later, but I want to start with Warren. So give me, Ty lives in Jordan's basement. I don't have a basement. I wish I had a basement. Will Ty ever come back? I just told you, Ty's still part of the family. He'll be on. We'll have him on, those kinds of things. So don't you fret. Don't you fret. Jordan and Ty broke up. Jordan was cheating on him with Neera Tanden. Don't you start rumors. Don't you start those scandalous rumors. No. And if Ty's watching, send him well wishes because he's really, he threw out his back. So he hasn't even been able to work his new job because he blew out his back. So, well wishes to Tommy. Now, as you know, watching Status Coup means great production value. And it's going to get better now that we have our new guy on board. But the screen's about to go black because I have to load something that we didn't have loaded in time, but I wanted to go live. I didn't want it to be delayed anymore. So work with me for a second. The screen's going to go black just for a second. I am going to play for you Elizabeth Warren. We'll call it As the Warren Turns. As the Warren Turns on Medicare for All. Here's Elizabeth Warren through the years, meaning just this year, on Medicare for All. Let me know if you're finding or detecting a pattern, folks. Here we go.
What we're all looking for is the lowest cost way to make sure everybody gets covered. And some folks are talking about, let's start lowering the age. Maybe bring it down to 60, 55, 50. That helps cover people who are most at risk and can be helpful, for example, to the labor's plans. Some people say do it the other way. Let's bring it up from everybody under 30 gets covered by Medicare. Others say let employers be able to buy into the Medicare plans. Others say let's let employees buy into the Medicare plans. For me, what's key is we get everybody at the table on this, that labor's at the table, that people who have to buy on their own, everybody comes to the table together, and we figure out how to do Medicare for All in a way that makes sure that we're going to get 100% coverage in this country at the lowest possible cost for everyone.
So you are a co-sponsor of Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, and I understand there are a lot of different paths to universal coverage, but his bill that you've co-sponsored would essentially eliminate private insurance. Is that something you could support?
He's got a runway for that. I think we get everybody together, and that's what it is. We'll decide. I've also co-sponsored other bills, including expanding Medicaid is another approach that we use.
So theoretically, though, there could be a role for private insurance companies under President Warren.
Or there could be a temporary role. Right now, what we've got in Medicare for All is a framework, and it doesn't have the details, and you're right to be asking.
And part 3, we got to keep moving us to a place where everybody is covered at the lowest possible cost. And there are a lot of different ways to get there. Medicare for All has a lot of different paths for how we get there. But ultimately, it's about making sure that we all adhere to the basic principle. Healthcare is a basic human right. It is our collective responsibility to make sure everybody gets coverage at the lowest possible cost. And Medicare, best.
So who the hell is this guy next to me? This is like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan.
Basically.
Yeah.
More like Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So before we get to Elizabeth Warren, let's make some introductions here. This is, well, I don't need to, you could say, who are you? Why are you in my apartment? And what would you like?
Hi everybody, my name is Joseph Francis. I am in Jordan's apartment because, it's a good space. It's a nice space. I'm comfortable. It's a nice little couch area. And we are, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of the Status Coup.
They're already calling you the bouncer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here to, I'm going to also, my side job is going to be to protect him when he's interviewing people and make sure that nobody does harm to this man, because he's got some really great things to say, and we want to keep going, and we want to keep making sure that Status Coup goes up and up and up. That's the goal. So I'm loving, one of the things I've seen so far is that
wait.
Oh, whoa.
I should have said, this is our new camera person. I think we're going to call him video director, because he's not going to just be doing camera. We're talking camera, editing, graphics, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of everything. So he's replacing Ty, who I just explained, still a friend of the Coup. He decided to work on some other things outside of the Coup. And yeah, much love for him. He's still living in my apartment. He'll be back on, I'm sure, in the very near future. So unfortunately, I don't have drama or anything scandalous to tell you. He was just working on, he's a documentary filmmaker, so he wanted to work on some other things. And we basically need someone a little bit more, a lot more of the time than he could have done. So that's all. So Joseph, I interviewed a bunch of people, and I like his attitude. He's got a lot of experience on tech things. As you know, I don't have any experience on tech things.
Most of us don't.
And I also I don't want to know anything about tech. Yeah. So Joseph, today is basically his first day. So he's basically been getting a flow of what exactly this is and how I do things, which is basically very slapdash. He could tell you how busy I am because he's seeing me on the phone all day with different people. Tell people a little bit like what stood out about Status Coup that you wanted to join, and a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. So one of the things about Status Coup that I love is that we are, and I love saying we, that's actually a really good thing. We are...
I gotta get a booster seat.
Oh my God. Okay, that's perfect. And one of the things I love about it is that we are in the middle of, I feel like it's a revolution. I feel like what's happening is reporting on things that other networks are not, making sure that we're telling the truth, and making sure that we're cutting through the BS. I mean, who wants to be fed BS? I don't, truthfully. And one of the things is this man is super authentic, and I loved that. And working with Jen and hearing her talk, it's a passion, it's an authenticity that I don't think you're going to find anywhere else. And for me, I've been in film production for many years. I'd say about 10 years. And one of the things I've always wanted to do is do politics. I love politics. I have my strong, opinionated views, and I love debate. I love hearing people's feedback. I love people telling me what they think. And I spoke to Jordan about my beliefs, and he has warned me. He said, "Can I tell him what you said?" He has duly warned me that I'm probably gonna get reamed a bit by the audience. I love it. I love having the audience come and telling me what they think, and a healthy, honest debate, because I think that is where we want to get to progressively. That's where we get in progress. So yeah. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I should, before we get, we're going to get into the Warren stuff, but to give you a couple housekeeping notes, without getting too in the weeds, basically part of the GoFundMe obviously is to have money to travel, but another part was to have money to buy the equipment we need. So we just purchased something called the LiveView 300, and essentially what it does is it's a mobile satellite. The one we had was the cheapest version, LiveView Solo. We had some connectivity issues with the LiveView Solo, so we'd be going live in the field, and it was definitely not flawless. There was pixelation sometimes, and there was also some buffering where the stream would stop. Knock on wood, I don't think we're going to have as much of a problem with that, because the LiveView 300 has a much stronger internal to the machine base. That's why it's more expensive. So I just ordered it. I won't say what we got it for, but we got a good price. We got a very good price, but it's a lot of money. I mean, you're talking close to $10,000. But it doesn't matter, if you follow where we've been. If you follow where we've been over the last year or so. It really doesn't matter where you go if you don't have the right equipment. So we could go all over the country, but if we're not able to go live semi-flawlessly, no machine could create connection. If there's no connection in some bumble beep area, it doesn't matter what machine you have. But if there's enough connection, if you have a machine that could attract certain cell towers and things like that. So that's why we just purchased that. Hopefully, I think we'll have it early next week. And then we could start looking. We've spoken about some places we want to go. And, you're definitely a little bit more establishment-minded than I. But I also think, truthfully, I was more capital D Democrat before I joined the Young Turks and got to go out in the country and see how truly, I mean, corrupt isn't even the word.
And one of the things I will tell the audience about me is that I'm open-minded. One of the things I always say is that if you give me if you show me something that I haven't seen before, I'm never going to turn away and say, oh my God, I don't want to see that. I love to see truth, and I love to see what's happening behind the scenes, because that's where you get to the heart of the story. So,
So I'm going to play this Warren video one more time, and I want you to look at the most recent. She says last night that we have a framework. We have a framework for Medicare for all. And this on top of the other thing she said. Oh, we have a runway to get to Medicare for all. Oh, a framework. Oh, let's just get everybody to the table, because that's been the problem, If those greedy pharmaceutical executives could just come to the table, if those, wonderful medical management companies could just get to the table, hospital providers could just come to the table, if we all just have hot tea and just talk about it, everything will be wonderful. Bottom line, Elizabeth Warren is punking America. She's not seriously for Medicare for all. Maybe her voter base, because she is rising in the polls, we can't deny that, maybe her voter base doesn't care. Because it doesn't seem to me, even though she says, I have a plan, on the most important issue, healthcare is the most important issue, not just to progressives, but to those polled. If you look at the polls, the number one issue, healthcare, followed by the economy, and climate change is rising too. She doesn't seem to have an actual plan for this, because what she talks about and how she talks about Medicare for all changes depending on the weather, what camera is in front of her, which network she's at. She is basically trying her best to eat her cake and have it too. To say, I'm with Bernie, but we got other options. It's basically giving yourself plausible deniability that if you become the nominee, oh no, I never said I was only for Medicare for all. That's just the promised land. That's what we want to get to. This is what every faux-gressive, this is what every faux-gressive has been saying since the dawn of time. This is frankly what Obama promised. Thank you for the GoFundMe. Kevin, $10 at the GoFundMe. We are now just $330 away from $76,000. Can we do it during this live stream? I think we can. Can we do it during this live stream? It's going to take a village, but we could do it. $5 at a time, $20 at a time, whatever the case may be. Help us get to 76,000, because Joseph and I have some ideas of where we want to go first. So,
good ideas.
I think The election is not over, even though the corporate media wants to declare Bernie Sanders' campaign dead. Even though I literally showed you earlier this week, CNN is already calling on Bernie Sanders to drop out. I do not think it's over. What I do think, Bernie Sanders, I don't want to see him aggressively go after Elizabeth Warren because I think that could backfire. But he needs to basically call her out and say, I can't keep up. I cannot keep up with what you're for. Or are you actually for a single payer plan? Because you keep basically talking out of seven sides out of your mouth about Medicare for all. And the reason she's doing that is clear. She wants to basically soothe former people who were for Bernie in 2016 and make her a choice for them. That they'll come over to her because whatever, they think Bernie's too old or they think Bernie's time has passed or whatever. Not true blue burners. And I know some of those. But she also wants to kind of soothe the establishment because in politics, there's something called a wink and a nod. I got to say what I got to say right now to get elected, but don't you worry. I'll play ball. Wink, wink, I'll play ball. Don't you worry about what I'm saying now. I will be a team player. I'll play ball. I'll say we couldn't get Medicare for all done. There wasn't the votes. So then we'll end up with some private version of a public option. That's what's going to happen if you get Elizabeth Warren. You want to know how I know?
What we're all looking for is the lowest cost way to make sure everybody gets covered. And some folks are talking about, let's start lowering the age. Maybe bring it down to 60, 55, 50. That helps cover people who are most at risk and can be helpful, for example, to the labor's plans. Some people say do it the other way. Let's bring it up from everybody under 30 gets covered by Medicare. Others say let employers be able to buy into the Medicare plans. Others say let's let employees buy into the Medicare plans. For me, what's key is we get everybody at the table on this, that labor's at the table, that people who have to buy on their own, everybody comes to the table together, and we figure out how to do Medicare for all in a way that makes sure that we get 100% coverage in this country at the lowest possible cost for everyone.
So you are a co-sponsor of Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, and I understand there are a lot of different paths to universal coverage, but his bill that you've co-sponsored would essentially eliminate private insurance. Is that something you could support?
He's got a runway for that. I think we get everybody together, and that's what it is. We'll decide. I've also co-sponsored other bills, including expanding Medicaid is another approach that we use.
So theoretically, though, there could be a role for private insurance companies under President Warren.
Or there could be a temporary role. Right now, what we've got in Medicare for All is a framework, and it doesn't have the details, and you're right to be asking.
And part three, we got to keep moving us to a place where everybody is covered at the lowest possible cost. And there are a lot of different ways to get there. Medicare for All has a lot of different paths for how we get there. But ultimately, it's about making sure that we all adhere to the basic principle. Healthcare is a basic human right. It is our collective responsibility to make sure everybody gets coverage at the lowest possible cost. And Medicare, best.
So, we have a runway, we have a framework, we got to get everybody to the table, a lot of different options. How does that sound for achieving the most uphill of policies that progressives have been trying to achieve since the Great Society era? How does that sound as your person who's going to fight for Medicare for all? And for those in the audience and those around the Twitter sphere and my loving, loving girlfriend who say, Jordan, and I love my girlfriend, but she's wrong on this. Jordan, you got to be practical. Medicare for all is never going to happen. You got to work with the Democrats. You got to work with the Republicans, blah, 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 blah. And she's giving herself a little wiggle room. You can't be a, what do they call that? A zealot. To that, I say Medicare for all polls at between 60 and 80% depending on the poll. Medicare for All has overwhelming majority support in America. So why is it that the corporate Democratic establishment talks out of two sides of its breath? They condemn the Republicans. 90% of Americans want tighter background checks on guns, which is true, and we should have way tighter background checks on guns. Why is it that when the number is about guns, which pretty much everyone agrees with that, the Wall Street banks are okay with tighter gun control. The special interests are kind of okay with that. So when it's 90%, it's a moral imperative. We got to do this. But when 70% want Medicare for all, we just can't get it done. And Elizabeth Warren goes up there. Maybe it's because she's going around the country having hot tea with the leaders of the Democratic establishment. Maybe it's because she's on the phone with Hillary Clinton, which recently came out being reported. I don't know. And a lot of you don't like it when I tell you what I honestly think. I don't think she's as bad as Hillary Clinton. I know there's others that are basically painting her as Lucifer. I don't think she's as bad as Clinton, Biden, Harris, but that doesn't mean this is acceptable. Healthcare is, forget being progressive or conservative. And thank you very much, Kathy Lloyd, $20.
Yes, thank you so much.
$20 in the super chat. Welcome to the family, Joseph. Thank you very much. Forget progressive or conservative. Just look at the numbers. Healthcare in the midterm elections, 41% of those voters in the midterm elections, healthcare was the top issue. 70% currently polled Medicare for all. They want Medicare for all. I'm about to tell you there are more stories coming out. I'll just give you the headline. In the New York Times, employer health insurance is increasingly unaffordable, new study says. So, I don't know. Elizabeth Warren, she's got a plan for everything, right? Even though most of them are recycled Bernie Sanders plans. Elizabeth Warren, headlines that, Bernie borrowing a page from Warren, issues a wealth tax. Bernie Sanders was proposing a wealth tax when Elizabeth Warren was still a Republican. Sorry. Bernie Sanders proposed a wealth tax in 2014 and 2017. So who's borrowing from who? I could go on and on. Joseph, this is your inaugural moment.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts here?
So, one of the things that I obviously the Medicare for all thing has been something that, as you said, polls very highly. And there's so many things that people want. People want Medicare. People want to be healthy. People want to make sure that they go to the doctor and they're not getting charged crazy amounts and empty out their bank accounts just to stay alive. Like, who wants to do that, right? And I've actually been, a personal story, I've actually been in a situation where maybe about 5 years ago, I was unemployed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What?
I'm not laughing at that.
Yeah.
Michael said, for anyone who joined LET, the new bouncer sitting next to Jordan is Joseph, the new cameraman for Status Quo. Sorry.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Like I said, that's my side gig with this. So, protecting him. So, and one of the things is that I remember not having medical insurance, having a back problem, once again, get well tied, because I remember that back problem. It sucked. And I couldn't go to the doctor. I couldn't go, and I didn't want to go to the doctor, so I did the home remedies, back and, massage, muscle rubs and everything, and finally had to go to the doctor, $1,000 that I didn't have at the time. Medicare for all, it's a nice idea. And here's the thing that I might get reamed on. The one concern that I have when Bernie Sanders talks about it and when Elizabeth Warren flip-flops, because honestly, she's flip-flopping. And for me as a candidate, that makes me yellow alert, yellow flag. Why are you saying one thing 1 minute and the next thing the next minute? Is it because somebody changed their mind? And if somebody changed their mind, I'd like to know your thought process. It's okay to change your mind, but I want to know where that changing of the mind comes from. And then now I'm going to ask even further, what are the details of your plan? Because you're saying 1 minute one thing, the next minute the next thing. And the thing about the one thing that I cause for pause with the Medicare for all is how much is it going to cost and who is paying for it? Because we all pay taxes, we all do things that, unfortunately taxes are a part of our life. And what happens if we go from paying 35, 38% to 60% taxes because there's a $55 trillion bill that comes along with this? And my thing is, I'm open for that, once again, open-minded, open for the Medicare for all. one, I want to know how much it's going to cost, and two, I want a candidate to say something and stick to it. And right now in those videos, she didn't stick to it. There's 3 separate videos where she flip-flops and does this. Elizabeth Warren is I don't think she's like you. I don't think she's as bad as Hillary Clinton. I think Hillary Clinton is the most Democratic Republican ever. And
Joe Biden's got
they're up there. They're like right there. But the thing is that I do wonder, and I say to myself constantly, like, are any of you gonna say something and stick to your beliefs and what you want to do, and not like just turn tail and run the minute your polling numbers aren't looking good and somebody's saying no, that's horrible. Like, when is that gonna happen? Are you going to take a stand? So that's definitely my position.
So part of why I hired Joseph, he's got a lot of technical experience too, which is important. Was I think it would be appealing to have kind of the edumacation live on air of he's not like neoliberal establishment. He's just buys into like the MSNBC talking points. So we're going to educate him.
Yes, please.
I'm going to educate him live on the air. So first of all, it's so cute that you think politicians actually like genuinely evolve.
None of them do.
Or change their minds, because you said it's fine to change your mind, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, none of them change their mind like ever based on, come to Jesus.
Yes, true.
Very rarely.
I believe that.
Usually it's the donors, this and that. So that's number one.
Yep.
Number two, the whole how you're going to pay for it, it's not just a Republican talking point, it's an insurance industry talking point. So let me explain how it works in every country.
Yes, please
here.
do, please do.
So right now, you have a tax.
Yeah.
You already have taxes on healthcare. You know what those taxes are?
That would be Medicare and
co-pays.
Co-pays, yes.
Deductibles.
Oh, God.
Co-insurance.
Which they cloud in that vernaculum that nobody understands.
So that's a tax. You also, more and more, because there's no price controls on healthcare, because all of these politicians are bought off by big pharma and this and that, what you have is people are having to pay more and more out of their paycheck for their healthcare. Yeah. And every single year, I'm rushing to do everything I need to do because January 1st, the deductible resets and you got to pay even on Obamacare, affordable, you got to pay in some cases $2,000-$3,000 deductibles.
I remember that.
So you already have a significant tax, and that tax is not for the actual service. That tax, that co-insurance, co-pays, that's just going into the CEO of Pfizer and all these their pockets.
Which is horrible, and that's the thing that I genuinely believe that, and I don't know if this is possible, and this is something that I've genuinely believed for a long time, but it is an inherent conflict of interest when you have big pharmaceutical companies that are involved in our medical insurance. Like, so you're telling me that they're going to want us to get healthy? If we all get healthy, they don't make money. I mean, that's just common sense. So I definitely, private companies should not be anywhere near medical insurance.
So the bottom line is, what Bernie Sanders, and it's not just Bernie Sanders, we're talking healthcare experts, National Nurses Union, many doctors support Medicare for all. They're saying, like every other country, you pay a little bit more in taxes, not 60%. That's
no. That was extremities. Yeah,
you pay a little bit more in taxes, but guess what? That bump in your taxes, all this other stuff disappears. Copays, deductibles, co-insurance, hidden costs, bills after a surgery, and the amount you save from those costs going away are much greater than this modest tax increase. So in fact, what you're getting, and frankly, I've said this, I don't think Bernie Sanders really explains it well. I think his campaign manager explains it better than Bernie. You're not just, he says the American people end up with a better deal. No, you're getting a tax cut with Medicare for all. Because let's say, and I've used this example, and we could get a whiteboard, or I might make you make a graphic.
Yeah.
On one hand,
infographic.
On one hand, okay, let's say you pay the average family right now is paying $23,000 a year on health care for a family of 4, I think it is. Yeah. You got $23,000. Let's say your taxes go up per year $10,000 to $12,000.
Okay.
Which is less? 10,000 or
I'm gonna pay the 10,000.
Right,
That's
right.
gonna be better.
So
yeah.
the reason, and this every other country has this.
Yeah,
every
I
other
know,
country.
and that's the thing. I know people who are from Canada. I know people who live in, I believe Germany has something similar to it, and they're doing pretty okay. I went to Munich a few years ago, and it was a country that you didn't get, like, people were not stressed about healthcare and basic little issues that they had more complicated problems. They're also third or fourth best economic country in the world, so they're doing something right.
But also, there's a different argument for it. And Elizabeth Warren could say all she wants, healthcare is a right, healthcare is a right, but she's not talking like it's a right because she's talking out of two sides of her mouth, where there's options and there's this. And this is why, many reasons I don't like Joe Biden, why Joe Biden is intolerable to me. We as a society have been programmed and brainwashed, the majority of voters, that you should have to pay for healthcare. Healthcare in most countries is not viewed as a commodity. It's viewed as a basic part of what your government does for you.
Yep.
So in other countries, just because you have universal healthcare, there are some costs associated. Like Bernie's Medicare for All plan, you still would have to pay for some medications, but it's capped at $200 a year.
Yeah.
All these other, like, Biden is talking about the right to affordable health care. Well, what's affordable to one person is bankruptcy for another. So Bernie Sanders, what has been revolutionary about him, he's changed the discussion away from the dollars and cents and more about the morality. Healthcare, nor should education be a commodity. There are some things that should have zero profit motive. So I've already explained to you the monetary explanation of why it makes more sense. Bottom line, as long as you have politicians, because we have a system of legalized bribery in this country, all the politicians are bought off. And frankly, I don't think Elizabeth Warren is Hillary Clinton, but why do you think she's talking out of two sides out of her mouth? Maybe it has to do with going around the country. The New York Times reported of this, basically greasing the wheels of superdelegates, trying to get them to endorse her, and if it went to a second ballot at the convention, getting them to put her over the top as the nominee. Maybe it has something to do, she's trying to get an endorsement, wait for it, from Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
The person who said Medicare for all will never ever come to pass. Maybe. And remember, we got 515 people watching. Only 344 of you have pressed that like button. Press the like button. It's the thumbs up button. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. The more people that press like, the more people that will see it. Remember, for all of you watching, if you like these educational videos where I explain things to my establishment camera person, GoFundMe. GoFundMe. We're $330 away from $76,000. Help us pitch in $5, $10, whatever you could do. Drop the link in there, whoever's running the live chat right now. So, bottom line, Elizabeth Warren is doing this because Elizabeth Warren's strategy to become the president or become the nominee is twofold. Pretend that I'm just as progressive as Bernie, when she's not. She's just not. And wink, wink, nod to the donors. That's why this article that I saw today that everybody's going crazy about online is laughable to me. Wall Street Democratic donors warn the party, we'll sit out or back Trump if you nominate Elizabeth Warren. Do you notice that this version, this type of story has come out in 6 or 7 different places? Wall Street hates Warren, this and that. This is called in the business, in the media business, PR dumps. This is Elizabeth Warren's campaign.
I've heard that
feeding to the media that Wall Street hates her, that she's just as much of a threat to Wall Street as Bernie Sanders. So she has the best of both worlds. She could go around the country and have hot toddies with the Democratic Party establishment leaders. She could do phone calls and text messages with Hillary Clinton. And she could get press that Wall Street is so scared of her. So she gets to be attractive to everybody in America. The actual progressives, she gets to be attractive to the establishment. She gets to be attractive to Hillary Clinton and Hillbots. She gets to be attractive to older Democrats that are like looking at Biden like, I don't know if he's well. Let me go over to Warren. And she's attractive to everyone who's jumping off the Kamala Harris ship. So she's basically, what this is called is being, what is with when you play with Play-Doh? Mushy.
She's like squishing it together. She's
flexible.
Flexible. Yeah.
Flexible.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of somebody, and I might pop your existing worldview.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot about Barack Obama in 2007 and 2008.
Yes, and it would see, and this may not be popular, what I'm about to say, with the audience, so I'm going to say it because I don't know how else to be blunt. But let's play devil's advocate for a second. It does sound like Obama. But what happened there? He won. And he was president for 2 terms. So, and what I want to say is
that's great. We got a Republican healthcare plan.
I know, and it's horrible. And for the people, for the masses of people, it's horrible. But we're talking about Elizabeth Warren doing this. She's doing it because she's saying this is the best formula to win, and she's doing it because she sees that there is vulnerability with Joe Biden. There's vulnerability with Kamala Harris. Bernie Sanders, as great as he is, as many great ideas as she has, she's like, well, I've stood by him before. So at the end of the day, she stood by him.
No, she did not.
She stood by him more than any other person. However,
were you sleeping in 2016?
No, I was not in 2016. I'm talking about recently. I'm talking about in recent history. She has stood by him, not total. She's flip-flops. One minute she says everything Bernie says is fantastic. The next minute she says not really.
Let me tell you something, okay? So, American history, Battle of Bunker Hill?
Yes.
Okay, the Battle of Bunker Hill?
Yes.
Revolutionary War?
Yes.
The 2016 primary, and I used to battle with my old colleague at TYT, Emma, on this. We debated Warren. Mm-hmm. Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton was the Battle of Bunker Hill for the progressive movement.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Agree.
This was the closest sniff we had to the White House, maybe since McGovern. And Elizabeth Warren decided to sit that one out. She didn't endorse Bernie Sanders.
She didn't endorse Bernie Sanders.
I don't want to hear a damn thing that she's always stood.
And that was the point where she should have stuck by him the most, and she didn't. But there's so many times where she's like, I think it was the first or second debate, she walks out, she gives him an embrace, she gives him a hug, and she did that to nobody else. Like, everybody else just shook her hand. And that's the point of Elizabeth Warren. That's the point of this entire discussion about her. In my view, is her psychology. She's going to do whatever it takes to win because she's a little bit cutthroat. And I see that, and that's exactly what Hillary Clinton was. And that doesn't mean she's going to win, but maybe that's her mentality.
But
doesn't mean it's right.
That's the problem. But before I get to that, thank you. Jeffrey Barker, $50 in the GoFundMe.
Very nice.
Thank you, now. Jeff. Are you good at math? Because I always struggle.
I am.
What's that to 76,000?
That is about to 76,000. It's about 280. Yeah.
$280 away from 76,000.
Love it.
I'm gonna have you, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I used to have blowers when we reached the next milestone.
Yes.
But they went out. Yeah. So I've had nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you to make a sound.
Okay.
Like fireworks or something like that.
I think I got something.
Yeah. So that would be good.
Can I use my mouth? I can just. Yeah. I think I'm gonna use my mouth.
That's fine. So what you're saying is fine. Yes. If you actually care about somebody's integrity, I got a problem with that because first of all, if she becomes the nominee, I think even though Trump, and I haven't even gotten to Trump, even though Trump is not looking so hot right now, that public option is going to have a mix of public and private. And before you know it, you have Obamacare 2.0 and 3.0. The planet is burning. Her plan doesn't go anywhere near Bernie Sanders' plan. No. I mean, she talks about breaking up Amazon, breaking up Google, breaking up all these companies, which I think is great. I actually wanted Bernie to go that step. Well, you think she's going to do that when she's saying she's going to take I don't know if you know this. She said in the primary, bad. I'm not taking big money. I'm not doing big money fundraisers. In the general, check. Yeah. You think she's going to break up Google and Silicon Valley while taking their checks in the general election?
Absolutely
No.
Absolutely
So
not.
I don't trust her. Now, where I get in trouble with the audience, there are some on the progressive area who say, hell no, I'm not voting if it's her, blah, 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 blah. Listen, you do what you want. I don't tell my audience how to vote. And if she were the nominee, even if I vote for her, I'm not going to just close my eyes. I'm going to cover her critically because that's my job. I'm not going to just not cover her critically like my old stomping grounds just decided Hillary Clinton's fine. We're going to go against Donald Trump. No, even if I personally vote for her, I will cover it the way I cover it now. With that said, I don't think we really have a choice between Bernie or bust. There might not be a planet in 4 years if Donald Trump gets another 4 years.
100%.
I personally think for me the top 2 issues are healthcare and climate. It's always been the top 2 issues for me. When I look at water contamination, the pipeline fights, mining, you name it, drought, extreme weather, hurricanes, this and that. I would rather battle as a progressive Elizabeth Warren as president than have to worry if Donald Trump is reelected. Is what the United Nations said even wrong? Could the irreversible damage be 6 years from now, 7 years from now? Because they said 12, but that was before this Brazil guy started burning the Amazon.
Yeah, I think it's been moved up to 8 years.
So
now.
I personally don't think we have the option to, because by the way, if Donald Trump gets another 4 years and the environmental damage that happens is so bad that it's irreversible, there is no progressive movement. There's no anything. Yeah. So we'll get to that later. I personally don't think she's going to win the nomination. As I said earlier in the live stream, I personally, if she's going to get a huge momentum burst to the point where she's the front runner, I'd rather it happen now than right before Iowa. Because if it happens now, there's only one way to go, one place to go. That's back down. And if she's the front runner, she's actually going to be challenged. Yeah. So that's what I would prefer. But I think Bernie, I'm amending what I said because I said he shouldn't attack her. I don't want to see him attack her, but I do think in the next debate, he needs to clearly point out that there are some significant differences here.
Distinguish himself.
Number one, he needs to point out you cannot change a system if you take that system's money. My colleague over here said, I'm not going to take the money during the primary. I will take their money during the general. Corruption doesn't have a calendar on and off switch. You're either taking their money or you're not. And I personally would rather see Bernie Sanders as the nominee and lose doing it the right way than him start taking all his money and going against who he's always been and win. Because if you start making those little trade-offs as a nominee, well, I got to win, so I'm going to take that money from Goldman. I'm going to take that money from Pfizer. This is like the mafia. You don't get to take their money and then do something for them. You don't get to spurn them and turn your backs on them later. If you do, you're out. Ask John F. Kennedy.
There is one thing I wanted to say. I'm seeing in the chat that a lot of people are saying that they wouldn't vote for Warren under any circumstances.
Well, to be clear, I have a policy.
Yeah.
I say to my audience, do what you want. I'm not telling
you
what to do.
Always do what you want. I just, a little bit of history, and this is one thing that I think that, and this is a funny part of 2016, but 2016 was not funny to me. The only part was that we genuinely had that episode of South Park where it was the choice between a douche and a turd. That's literally what it was. And unfortunately, Trump was the worst. Hillary was slightly behind her, but she was the better option in that situation because look at what we had. I just caution people that it has to be anybody but Trump. And that me personally, I just want anybody but Trump at this point. It sounds a little desperate, I know. But as you said earlier, if we elect Trump where he's not worried about being reelected, I'm really worried about what he's going to do, what he's going to say. This man is so corrupt and so bad. And on climate change, on national security, on just so many things, it really worries me.
Somebody said, fire this fucking guy.
I know.
I told you.
I know, and I am. But my point is that whoever wins the nomination, I just want to see everybody get behind that person. Hopefully, it's the right person. I believe Bernie Sanders is the right person. But hopefully, if it is whoever it is, I don't want to see Trump. I don't.
So I'm not going. Yeah. I'm not going that far.
I get it.
There's certain people I'm not voting for.
Fair enough.
What I'm saying is this. I think that what people in the media don't understand, polls could show what they show, right? Hillary in the polls was going to crush Trump on election day. Yeah. Polls showed Donald Trump was not even going to be a competitor for the Republican nomination. So the polls right now are showing certain. I'm not a polling truther. For the most part, the polls are somewhat accurate. There's some polls that are a joke. Right now, there's a New Hampshire poll that has Elizabeth Warren in first, Biden in second, and Bernie at a distant third. They don't mention on CNN that 70% of those that they polled were over the age of 50.
Yep.
No shit, Bernie Sanders is in a distant third.
Yeah.
But that's how a narrative gets formed. That Bernie he's lost the mojo and he's done and this, that, and the other thing. When they're only polling people at senior citizen homes. No offense to older people. So the bottom line is why I think Bernie needs to draw a distinction. I don't want to see him dropping elbows on her. I don't want to see him yelling. None of that, because it will backfire. I mean, the bottom line is you have to be careful as an older white dude. how you come across talking to a female candidate.
100%.
And you should.
Yeah.
But he needs to point out, with all due respect to my friend here who has a lot of plans, I don't know what your plan is on Medicare because you've said many different things. You say we have options. You say there's a framework. You say this. And as Bernie Sanders, after Elizabeth Warren's latest, where she said there's a framework, we have a framework to Medicare for all. Well, this is what Bernie Sanders' senior advisor said to that. Medicare for All isn't a framework. It's a 100-page bill. There have been 2 white papers released on how to finance it, and a 200-page study from University of Massachusetts showing our financing options more than cover the expense while costing middle-class families 14% less than the current system.
And honestly, that's what I want to see more of. I want to see more.
Don't blame. No. Don't blame Bernie Sanders.
No, it's not. No.
Blame the media.
Yes,
the media
exactly, because the media doesn't cover it, and that's why we need.
There
we go.
A coup.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying, I don't care. If you don't want to vote for Warren, don't vote for Warren. Do what you want. I'm just telling
Always do what you want.
I'm just telling you my viewpoint.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna cover her critically no matter what, even if she is the nominee. But the point is, just like I'll cover Trump critically, I'm gonna be equal opportunity. But the point is, Bernie needs to draw these distinctions because right now, the media psychops, and it is a psychops against Bernie Sanders. There is a coordinated professional campaign to get this guy out of the race and just totally suck him dry out of support. Why it's so important, the media has been successful in making it seem that Warren is the same as Bernie. And if you're getting the policies you like from Bernie, why don't you go from this nicer, softer version, this happy warrior version of Bernie Sanders? He needs to point out she is going to take money in the general. She is essentially going around having hot toadies with the Democratic establishment. Somebody needs to ask her, are you willing to compromise on Medicare for all as president? Because the way you're talking at these rallies, it's kind of like, oh, we have a runway and an option and a framework, and no. And he also needs to point out, how are you going to get all these plans done, all these domestic plans, cost some money, when you voted a year ago for a $715 billion defense budget? We have a defense budget in this country that is greater than the domestic spending budget. How do you get all these domestic plans if you're down with the military-industrial complex? 1 + 1 cannot equal 20, right? So, and I also think he needs to point out, I mean, I didn't even see this. This is from her book. Her 2004 book even boasted that, quote, we haven't suggested a complete overhaul of the tax structure, and we haven't demanded that businesses cease and desist from ever closing another plant or firing another worker, nor have we suggested that the U.S. should build a quasi-socialist safety net to rival the European model. This was in her book not so long ago. Remember, she voted for Ronald Reagan twice as an adult. Here, she's essentially talking negatively about the quasi-socialist safety net at the European model. This is somebody who believes in Medicare for all? I get that you think people evolve. People evolve when they want to get elected.
Yeah, of course. And that's what she's doing. She's saying what she can to get elected, and I don't like that at all. But this is my point. What politician isn't doing that? And the only one,
Jordan, great program, but allow the person next to you to speak. Do you feel stifled?
I don't. No, it's my first show. So it's the first show. I'm getting my feet wet, but I do appreciate that.
But talk a little lower.
I know.
Just one next door.
Oh, really? Yeah. I appreciate that very much, but I will say that I think that one of the things that definitely happens a lot with politicians, and they say everything to get what they want, it's a horrible practice. I kind of love it. It kind of feels like a reality show sometimes. It's very entertaining, only this is a little bit better, but that's really bad. What I will say is that sort of the last thing that I will just kind of put out there is that, I always wanted a politician to be as honest as possible. And unfortunately, and this is the thing that I'm going to be more educated on, is that physically, emotionally, and mentally possible?
Yeah.
It would be nice.
His name's Bernie Sanders.
And his name's Bernie Sanders. However, the one thing I have, and this is going to blow your mind, Bernie Sanders has been in politics a long time.
Oh, stop it.
And I'm not saying he is in nearly as bad as anybody else. I don't think he is. I actually think he is the best of us. I do believe that. He reminds me of like a uncle of mine that you want to go and just have a beer with, and just like that's what Bernie reminds me of.
Joseph is a spy sent by the Young Turks to dilute Jordan's message.
Not at all.
People are probably wondering why I hired this establishment guy. Because you know what? I personally think it's better to have a little debate than have co-hosts that just agree with you on everything. Don't you worry. I'm too old to be turned. I'm not going anywhere.
I don't have the time and energy to turn anybody.
If anything, I'm going to turn him.
Yeah.
But what I want to get to, because we got to go. By the way, in 45 minutes from now, we have our video call for our members. So if you are not a Status Coup member yet, what are you doing?
Yeah.
For 560 of you watching, part of the perks of being a Status Coup member, which you can become a Status Coup member for as low as $5 to $10 a month.
Yes.
It's a great deal.
Yes.
Is every month we do a members video call. That's for members, also patrons, but we're talking about members right now. So go right now, statuscoup.com/join. If you become a member before 7:30 Eastern time, you will get a link from Zoom to join our video call. It's a lot of fun.
And I will say that one of the things I want to put out there, if allowed, I think that the members are going to get some new content and better content and secret content that I don't think others are going to get. So that's something that we definitely want you to be a part of.
So we're going to do more content for the members. So definitely, that's coming up in 45 minutes. But I want to get to, before we have to wrap, I've already established she's obviously moonwalking away from the things she's claiming she's for. I hope she's challenged during the debates, because honestly, Elizabeth Warren hasn't had a glove laid on her yet by anyone. The moderators have been basically like drooling all over her. CNN and MSNBC basically are public relations for her. Washington Post is drooling over her. It's pathetic. But I think she's a weak candidate against Donald Trump. You want to know why? Donald Trump is only bailed out electorally if there's somebody else with integrity questions.
Yep.
That's the only way. Like, I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan, but pretty much anyone on earth could have beat Donald Trump but Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
Because she had all of these corruption and trustworthiness issues. You're going to put somebody who, ad after ad, Donald Trump has already $150 million in the bank. You're going to put somebody who you're just going to see these ads, Native American, Pocahontas, Native American, Pocahontas, Native American, Pocahontas. There might be more things that come out on places she put down she was the Native American.
Can you imagine what that debate's going to be like?
Right.
Oh
What Donald Trump is so good at doing is muddying the waters. He's good at saying, oh yeah, I'm a little corrupt, but like, you're going to hire Pocahontas here? You know? You can't give somebody... You can't... And by the way, not only did she do this when she was younger, then she did a DNA test, which insulted plenty more. Nobody has gone after her in the Democratic primary over it, which I think is a mistake. I frankly think I would like Tulsi Gabbard, frankly, to bring it up in the debate. But somebody, this is a real liability in the general election. The second thing, frankly, you got to pull back that 10% of Obama voters that ended up voting for Trump. You got to pull back at least 3 to 5% of them. I don't know if Elizabeth Warren's the person to do that. I think Bernie Sanders is the person to do that, but I don't know if Warren is, because a lot of those Rust Belt people aren't attracted to like an academic.
Yeah.
Who, they're more gut instinct people, not like, I have a plan for this. Like, that's what the blue collar worker wants. They want somebody that they gut instinct connect with. That's why Elizabeth Warren is doing way better among highly educated people making more than $50,000 a year. Those are not the working class. So I think she's the wrong candidate. I also think, frankly, real quick, can't forget this. Where was this? Yeah, I got to say, I'm kind of done with Tulsi Gabbard. I'm done. This was in an interview with NPR. Yes, I support it. Medicare for all. I prefer to call it Medicare Choice, where we are ensuring quality health care for all people, regardless of how little they may have in their pocket or their bank account, while maintaining their freedom of choice. If they've got an employer-sponsored plan or union-sponsored plan that they're happy with, they should have the opportunity to do so. So this puts her in the same exact sandbox as Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, pretty much every other establishment candidate. She is now for Medicare for all choice, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Listen.
That makes sense.
Dan, back-to-back live streams. Convo Couch, Jamal Thomas, Status Coup. Yes, this is why I've been advocating for many years for all of the progressive media to join together on one network. You go at this time, I go at this time, you go at this time, so we're not all on top of each other. Because I think, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, folks, I think people would pay $10 a month, like a Netflix thing, for a progressive YouTube, uncensored. I think people would pay $10 a month for a la carte, Jimmy Dore, Secular Talk, Humanist Report, Jamal Thomas, Status Coup, who am I forgetting? Humanist Report. I can't think of anyone else right now. Where it's not censored, it's on our own platform, and you could support specific shows that you like even more. You could become a member of them on top of that flat payment. I think that's the way it should be, and we should all have our time slots, and we could work on things together, this and that. But for some reason, nobody.
Can you imagine a progressive news channel?
Jordan is the same guy that will be fawning over Tulsi if she hits Warren. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So I'm done with Tulsi. I'm done with Tulsi electorally. I'm not. If she's not for Medicare for all, I'm sorry. I'm just not down with that. Well, I'm not going to have to vote for her. I'm sorry. I don't think she's making it to Iowa.
She's not. The final three are going to be Biden, Bernie, and probably.
But
Warren.
Anthony knows me well enough to know I'm a hypocrite like that. So if Tulsi does what she did to Kamala Harris to Elizabeth Warren on stage, I'm going to be Team Tulsi that day, 100%, 100%. But I'm just keeping it real. This Medicare for, I don't know. I don't know her motives. I've interviewed her. My impression of Tulsi Gabbard was she's genuine. I don't think she's as political as Elizabeth Warren. Definitely not political as Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. She's obviously got integrity when it comes to war and ending the wars and ending military regime change and all these things. So I'm not challenging her motives here because I can't get in her head. And I wouldn't group her in the same pocket as Warren or Biden or these people.
My impression of her, one of the things about her that the first time I wanted to see more fire, because I believe that one of the characteristics to beat Trump is you're going to have to bring the fire to him, because he's going to try his temper tantrum childish BS in a general election debate. I wanted to see more fire from her. I felt like the first couple of debates, she was very reserved and very trying to be political and very trying to be nice about things. I did like when she handed Harris she handed her ass. She said, "You're not going to walk over me."
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I do, of course.
She's the Arya Stark of
She is. She's rising up. She's becoming but the thing is, I want to see more of it. So like you said, if she comes at Warren that way, because Warren's going to be the hot ticket to knock off the pedestal. If she comes at Warren like that, you look at her and say, wow, you could be something. But and this is the thing, once again, not going to be popular with the audience. I'm going to say it. I think that Harris is going to have a resurgence. I know it's not popular.
I think you're
ridiculous. I know a lot of people say I'm delusional, but I think that what it is that she is very, I think her pride's going to take over, and she's going to start getting very, claws are going to come out, ready to punch, and she's going to, I think that the next debate, you're going to see a lot more fire between everybody. I think that's what's going to have to happen. So.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Yakintoro Udamo. $5 in the super chat. Thanks for discussing the Tulsi issue, Jordan.
It's a cool name.
Medicare for all is not a public option competing with private insurance. I agree. And by the way, I gotta call some viewers out, okay? And I love you, but I'm so tired of this. Then why are you smearing her? Then blah, 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 blah. Listen, if you want to be fanboys and fangirls for politicians to the point where when they are doing the wrong thing, you can't call them out, if you think that's a smear, then don't watch me, okay? I'm not going to carry water for Tulsi Gabbard. When Bernie Sanders is wrong, I'll be the first one to say it. How am I going to sit here and do an hour and a half on Elizabeth Warren moonwalking, but then when Tulsi Gabbard does the same thing, but Tulsi's great? No,
you got to be fair.
That's not smearing her.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard doesn't shit gold. Not to get graphic. So I like her. I don't think she's I don't think she is in the same bucket as Warren as far as political calculation. But I don't know. I think she's just wrong. I don't know where she's getting her information. You cannot have Medicare for all and have a vibrant private insurance industry. The two things, private insurance cancels out a government system. You have to have, that's why it's called single payer. Now, in other countries, with universal healthcare systems, there is something called a private, like there are private doctors. So for people who have a little bit more money, if you don't like the doctors on your government plan, you can go to private doctors. I don't think Bernie Sanders is exterminating or vanquishing private doctors that want to do cash deals or whatever. You know what I mean? But bottom line, I think Tulsi Gabbard, truly, maybe she just is getting advice from specific healthcare people that you can have both. You can't, because the private health insurance industry at its core is not meant for health insurance. It's meant for profit. So the goal of profit and these private insurance companies is not to get people healthy or prevent disease. It's to gorge profits for the next quarterly report. So I don't know why she's moonwalking. I don't know if maybe she's making calculations to be considered for a more establishment candidate's cabinet. It could be. So she's kind of moving away. Also, we have to remember, Tulsi Gabbard grew up in a conservative family, right? So she's progressive like Bernie on a lot of issues. Frankly, she's further left than Bernie when it comes to foreign policy. But it's not completely shocking that she'd be less progressive economically because she grew up in a conservative family. And Hawaii, I'm not going to pretend to know that much about Hawaii politics, but Hawaii there are pockets that are more traditional. So I don't know why she's doing this, but I would be a fraud to go after Warren and Buttigieg and Harris and then be like, it's okay for her to moonwalk. I don't know what her motivations are. I don't know why she's suddenly moonwalking. All I could say is I'm not voting for somebody that wants this split pea soup. Again, if it was Tulsi Gabbard versus Donald Trump, I'd vote for her in a minute. But it's not. And frankly, she has been a victim of the DNC screw job. She should have been in that last debate. Thankfully, she's going to be in this next debate because even though I don't agree with her on the Medicare for All issue, her voice is well needed. I'd like to see her go after Warren on, you got a plan for everything but the light bulb. How are you going to get any of this done when you're voting for a $715 billion military budget? I'd like to hear that because you kind of, I believe in modern monetary theory, but that's not in practice. So you kind of need money to do these things, and you have routinely voted for immoral, massive military budgets that Bernie said he would cut and Tulsi said she would cut. You also, from what I know, I haven't heard Elizabeth Warren say anything about the U.S. trying to topple other governments' leaderships, like Venezuela, like we're basically trying to set up to do in Iran. So, yeah, I disagree with her on Medicare for All. I don't like her moonwalking. I'd like to know why, 6 months ago she was for capital M Medicare for All. Now she's not. When Kamala Harris says, I heard from the people. I got news for you. I've been around the country. There are not this mosh pit of millions and millions of people being like, oh my God, I need to keep the choice to keep my copays, to keep my deductibles, to keep my private employer-based healthcare that's gorging me and raising my rates and all this. I just need the choice for that. No, that's not reality. So, I don't know. I'd love to interview Tulsi again. Not trying to be a jerk, but I'm just keeping it real. She's wrong. Yeah. And we should say she's wrong. Any closing thoughts? Joseph is not going to be on the members call because he's got a prior engagement. Yeah. But next time he will be on the members call.
Sounds good. And what I want to say is that I want to see...
Give people a little preview about the changes coming to the coup.
Oh.
And by the way, for those of you who think that this giant 6'4" could make me go to the establishment, I am offended.
Yeah. I don't think you guys know.
I'm gonna have this guy quoting Che Guevara in a week. Okay.
That makes sense. The one thing I will say, the last thing I'm going to say about Tulsi is that I want to see more from her. I want to hear her more. And it was a shame she wasn't in the last debate because I felt like that just took that platform away. But she should.
Got a Twitter?
I do. My Twitter is @RealJFrancis. Straight away, because I actually did something I didn't tell you in the interview process. You wouldn't know. I actually have a very similar name to a director who's done pornographic things, and since I'm in the same business, I'm like, let me make sure I'm the real one. Okay.
So you didn't tell me you do adult entertainment?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't tell you that. No, I do not. Stay away from that. But what I want to say is that, we have a lot of things coming. Me and Jordan are going to get together along with Jen, and we're going to talk about the things that are going to start changing, and it's not going to be anything crazy. We still want to make sure that we're going out there, getting into stories, and make sure that we got the live stream talking to you guys, and you guys make us. But there's other things. We want to have more interviews. We want to have more debate conversations. We would like to have eventually guest speakers, maybe even a studio that we can have a table discussion. There's a lot of things that we spoke about that over the next couple of months, as long as we're getting funding and as long as we have people subscribing and sharing and spreading the word like fire, as long as we are getting out there and having people join as members are going to get more content, better content, behind the scenes content that we're going to start doing. I mean, there is going to be a lot of changes that we're going to make, and we're going to start rolling those out as, more and more detail, because this is a passion that needs to be grown. And I think if we keep growing it, you guys keep it growing, then it's going to be fantastic.
T-minus a half hour to our members call. So if you are not currently a member, you have a half hour to sign up at statuscoup.com/join, become a member, and then you could join me on the members call. I am just going to be transparent. I've had a really, really long day. I'm going to get a pumpkin beer, and I'm not getting drunk, but I am going to have a beer or two while I talk to you, because I need it. I hope my mother's not watching, or my girlfriend, to yell at me about that. But we're going to have our members call soon. And just to be clear.
Pumpkin beer?
Yeah, it's really good.
Really?
It's really
okay,
good.
I've never had that.
And just to be clear, when he says changes, we're talking about production changes.
Yes.
We're not talking about the main meal.
No.
The main meal is this, okay?
Yeah.
While others in the corporate media, while others in the independent media, just talking about a few that claim to be independent, while they do Trump 24/7, it was Russiagate, now it's Ukrainegate. In fairness, Ukrainegate is legit. Russiagate, I thought, was a lot to do about nothing, but I mean, Trump basically tried to buy off the new president of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
threatened money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's bad. I'm not gonna lie. But to me, it's like, do you come to Status Coup for me to cover that? Because they're all covering it all day, and they're going to be covering it for a year. So do you need me to do something on Trump and Ukraine that you're not getting anywhere else? If you do, let me know, but I don't think so. So no meds and beer, Jordan? I'm not saying I'm like funneling a keg. I'm not funneling a keg.
If you have an extra pumpkin beer, I do want to take a sip.
Yeah, it's good.
That's delicious.
But the main meal is this. The status quo in this country is why we have this. That's the status quo in this country since the 1950s, but look at that since 1980. The status quo, productivity versus your wages. The status quo is why that red line has been stealing money from that blue line for the last 40 years. So that status quo is not going to change just by like one media outlet. But what could change, and that's why we are Status Coup, you'd be really surprised how much can change when more people are woken up. So one of the things Joseph and I have spoken about is definitely like building our loyal base, but we want to reach new people that aren't necessarily progressives, aren't necessarily even into politics.
Yeah.
Because the more people, I got news for you. I used to show, when I was at Standing Rock, when I would come home, I would show the videos I did from Standing Rock to friends who aren't even into politics, even to people I know that are right-wingers. And they'd be like, why the fuck isn't Obama doing something about this?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about this. You'd be so surprised how many more people, once you introduce them to something, and whether it's injustice, corruption, environmental threats, water contamination, whatever, they get very active in their communities. That's what we need to do. This is an activist media organization.
Yeah.
I'm never going to fudge the facts for political gain. If I find out tomorrow Bernie's corrupt, I doubt it, I'll report it, but haven't had anything to tell me that.
And that was one of the things that I got when in the interview process, and just researching and just figuring it out. Like, I remember saying, this is authenticity at its base, and I love that. So yeah, totally on board with that.
Now, speaking of authenticity at its base, thank you for the GoFundMe donation. Let's see. Jim Brazil, $25.
Very nice. Thank you.
We are now $255 away.
Yes.
So here's the deal. It's 7 o'clock. I got 28 minutes till the members call. If we can get that $255 before the members call, I might drop some information I wouldn't drop otherwise. And that information is very, very scandalous.
Teaser.
I might drop some information I previously wouldn't if we get to $76,000 in 27 minutes. I will see you, if you're a member, in 27 minutes.
Remember to share, like, and do everything you can. This is a very good thing. Very good discussion. It was great meeting everyone out there.
Peace out.